I am going to show you some UFO footage from Brazil that was recently released by the Brazilian Air Force. But first, if you want to see more videos like this one, then make sure to subscribe because it really helps out, and maybe leave a comment below of what you think about these UFOs. The first video comes from a small town in Brazil called Rondonópolis. In the video description, it says two men are walking next to each other along the highway when they witness a strange object flying over their heads. They start recording with their cell phone cameras and capture this bizarre white oval-shaped object that is moving extremely slowly. It looks like it's hovering or just moving at the same pace as them. Now, to me, this doesn't look like any kind of plane. I mean, there's no wings, there's no engines, and it also doesn't seem to have a tail either. And for it to be able to hover like that would suggest that it has some kind of anti-gravity technology. So what could this actually be? The second video comes from a place called Governador Valadares, which is around 800 kilometers away from Rondonópolis. This video was taken by a man inside his home when he looked out his window and saw a bright light. He goes outside to get a closer look and sees this large oval-shaped object with many lights inside of it. The video description says the object was seen for approximately 30 minutes during broad daylight. It appears to be some kind of flying vehicle because it's moving extremely fast. The people who witnessed it said it didn't make a sound. I don't know how you can fly a vehicle without making a sound, but maybe it has some kind of silent propulsion technology. When watching this video, I noticed something very interesting. If you watch closely, you can see this other plane flying past the UFO. You can see the plane in the distance, and then it gets closer and eventually flies right in front of it. Now, you can compare the size of the plane with the UFO. The UFO is clearly much larger than the plane. Now, I'm not saying that this is conclusive proof that the UFO is alien in nature, but it does rule out conventional aircraft as being the explanation here. If this is a conventional aircraft, then why is it so big? I mean, this is not a small object. It's the size of a football field. The third video comes from Pará, which is around 1,500 kilometers away from Governador Valadares. A man is driving down the road when he notices a strange formation of lights in the sky. He stops his car and starts recording. He says there were 14 of these objects flying in perfect formation. They were completely silent and had no lights turned on. Now, what I find fascinating about this video is the fact that there were 14 of these objects flying in perfect formation. This suggests that they are some kind of military craft, especially since they were flying in formation. However, the problem with that hypothesis is that military planes make noise. And in the video description, it says that these UFOs were completely silent. Now, what I believe happened here is that this man witnessed some kind of top-secret military aircraft that we are not aware of. We know that the US military has developed drone technology that can fly in perfect formation. Just a few years ago, the US military released a video showing off their drone technology where they had 6 drones flying in formation while carrying out a mission. Maybe Brazil has some similar technology. However, there is another possibility here. There are many indigenous tribes in Brazil, and some of them are known to have shamans that possess knowledge that we are not aware of. Maybe what this man witnessed was some kind of indigenous drone technology that we don't know about. The fourth video comes from Campinas, which is around 100 kilometers from Sao Paulo. A man is filming the clouds when he notices this strange object behind the clouds. It appears to be some kind of cylindrical-shaped object with a greenish tint to it. It looks like it's floating up into the air. This looks like a classic UFO sighting. I mean, how else can you explain this? Is it a balloon? Well, balloons don't typically float upwards. They usually float sideways. And if it was a hot air balloon, wouldn't we see the mechanism that heats the air to allow it to float? The fifth video comes from Varginha, which is around 300 kilometers from Campinas. A man is driving down a bumpy dirt road when he suddenly slams on his brakes and starts recording. He gets out of his car and walks towards where he stopped. It looks like he stopped because he saw something in the middle of the road. He then points his flashlight towards where he is looking and reveals this weird glowing object in the middle of the road. He shines his flashlight on it for a bit, then picks it up and shows its metallic texture. It's shiny and seems to have some kind of inscription on it. The video description says that this object was not there a few minutes before and that when he picked it up, his arms started feeling numb. Wow, just wow. What could this possibly be? I have no idea. But whatever it is, it definitely wasn't there a few minutes before. And if it was some kind of balloon, then why did it stop in the middle of the road? These are some crazy videos. Personally, I think that the best explanation for most of these videos is that they are some kind of top-secret military craft that we are not aware of. However, the last video with the object on the road is a little more confusing. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. What do you think about these videos? Let me know in the comments below. Did you know that in 2019, the US military released a video of a UFO that was recorded on the USS Nimitz? In the video, you can see the UFO moving erratically through the air. It's moving so fast that it's hard to keep track of it. 1 minute it's here, the next minute it's there. The US Navy officially confirmed that this video is real. Now, I have to say that this UFO is exhibiting some very strange behavior. It's almost as if it's playing with these pilots. At first it was hovering near the ship, and then it started moving erratically through the air. At first I thought that maybe this is some kind of drone, but how can a drone hover above a ship without falling into the water? And how can it move so fast? And how can it move faster than these F-18 fighter jets? These are multi-million-dollar fighter jets and they can't catch up to this UFO. Another interesting detail is that the ship's radar system detected this object, but only after the video was recorded. This means that the radar system must have been turned off during the incident. Why would the radar be turned off? Maybe they didn't know that this was a UFO sighting and they only realized it after the fact. Or maybe this is some kind of cover-up. Maybe they knew that it was a UFO sighting, but they didn't want to confirm it. Or maybe the radar system was turned off intentionally so that the UFO wouldn't detect that they were watching it. If you watched my channel before, then you probably heard me talk about the Nimitz incident. This is the incident where two UFOs approached the Nimitz and one of the pilots had to eject out of the jet because the UFO interfered with the jet's systems. Well, this video might be connected to that incident. Maybe this is the UFO that was recorded on camera. Maybe it returned to the area and that's why the pilots were told to investigate. Maybe the pilots tried to intercept the UFO so that they could gather more data on it. Either way, this is a very interesting video that the US Navy cannot adequately explain. This video was released to the public through a Freedom of Information Act request. And ever since then, the US Navy has been trying to debunk it. The US Navy claims that this is nothing more than a sensor or lens flare. But if you look closely at the video, you can see that this object is moving erratically through the air. It's not just staying still and reflecting light. It's actually moving and changing directions. Plus, if this was a lens flare, then why didn't it affect the other pilots? The other pilots were right next to it, but only one of them was affected. In my opinion, this is definitely some kind of UFO. I mean, what else can you call an object that moves like that and causes these kinds of effects on the aircraft? So what do you think about this video? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for this video.